Y'all were silent. I thought I had said it incorrectly. Okay. Director Crumble, you have the floor.
Well, thank you very much for the introduction, and good evening, Council. I'm looking around here, and I'm quite amused here at the moment that for the first time that I'm here, my team outnumbers your team. By exactly 2 members. So to be sporting, I will, let you have a member of your choice, just so we can, have a good exchange here if you like to do that. In any event, Cheerleader was starting to introduce to you Lone Wen from our department. She's our finance manager that's joining me here at the podium today, and she is in large part responsible for a lot of things that we're going to talk about. And all joking aside, I think all of you are aware we're a big department. We have a great diversity of groups and teams within our own department. So to the extent you want to get into some detail, I really may call on some of those that are here today that lead those groups and teams within the department to answer those. But before I get to that, I do want to acknowledge the members of the finance leadership team that are here in the chamber today. These are dedicated public servants, and collectively they have more than a century of public service to this community, and I think we should all be thankful for that service over the years. And I'd also like to thank the members of our team that can't be with us today. Again, it's a big department. A great number of them are located in the Howard building, and we just can't pack them all in here for questions. But they have worked just as hard as others throughout this pandemic period. We've enjoyed a great deal of productivity, and frankly, it's been great just to keep the financial affairs in order throughout this period. I'm grateful for all of their service through that period of time. So turning to the budget, though, we are recommended for several investments here. And over the past few years, this department has absorbed significant budget reductions like many other departments. But it does run a lean operation in my view. But we're beginning to experience growing pains, as well as the impact of several scheduled retirements of knowledgeable veterans that must be replaced. And 2 of them that have been just instrumental in preparing this budget and, again, just keeping our financial affairs in order over the pandemic period that I think many of you are familiar with. Kim McDaniel, who is here with us today, and Phil Carr, who can't be with us today. I think he's actually got a day off for once today. But they're retiring, and for those of you that know them, you know the vast knowledge they have and the pain that it's going to take to replace them. So we have quite a bit of that spread throughout the department, again, all in the area of growing pains. And just for examples of some things that you may not be aware, we are recommending right now to add, for example, an assistant public properties officer position. Today, public properties is a rather small office, and traditionally it's been focused on processing real estate transactions. But right now, there's a significant gap between that portfolio size and the strategy and planning that's really needed to optimize it. And simply put, we need resources there to protect and maintain, our valuable real estate assets for our taxpayers. And likewise, we have a big payroll, one of the largest in the city. We are scheduling to add more resources to that payroll group. Basic functions, and I could go on and on across the department, but I can't emphasize enough the growing pains and the places here and there that we need to add resources to keep our financial house really in order. Another area that I want to spotlight that really comes to us at the hands of the council at about this time last year, we were honored to be tapped by this council to create and implement a leadership position for equity and diversity. Equity and diversity and inclusion. And we have done our very best to make a thoughtful hire, who you're going to hear from here in just a moment. But this work is far-reaching, it's vast, it isn't perfect. We are moving quickly, though, to integrate those themes into our every business practice. I hope that you've seen those reflected in this budget as we brought it forward here. The equity lens that we have talked about, I think, has really become a reality here in this budget. But it's the work that is never done. So before you hear from Andrea here in a moment, I wanted to give loan an opportunity to talk about the building blocks that we already have here as a department for Andrea to get started. I think as leaders, we have to look first ourselves before we can look to others, and in this case, looking out to an entire metro government. So Loan is going to summarize for you what has been built by this department, and I want to be the first to say it was not built by me. This has really come at the hands of my two predecessors, particularly Talia, that so many of you know so well. It's a great starting point. It's truly been an honor in my 18, 19 months here to add to that. And so without further ado on that, Loan? You have a microphone.
You have to share the mic.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am happy to be here today, and we are proud to present to you our department's effort for the workplace diversity and inclusion. As of May 11, 2021, 65% of our employees are females and 35% are males. 51% are white or Caucasian, and 49% are minorities. This includes 44% of Black or African American and 5% of other races. Our leadership team consists of 11 individuals, 6 are women, and 4 are minorities. We are also very proud to say that women and minorities do not occupy only lower salary classes in our department. Instead, 88% of women in our department are in professional job classes, and 86% for minorities. When compared, the statistic for men in the department is 93%. We have made significant progress, but there's more to do. At this time, I would like to introduce our Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer, Andrea Blackman, who will make a few remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Loan. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to the council. I am Andrea Blackman, and I am excited to stand before you and serve in this new role. I have been in this position now a little bit over 8 weeks, and as Loan mentioned, I have been excited to immerse myself in a department that is truly doing the work within before we continue to move the needle forward. You spoke about data and how much data we have already done and what are we going to do for that. For the past 8 weeks, I have analyzed all that data since 2016. I've come up with a strategic plan for our department on how we are going to communicate the great things that we've already done, as Loan has mentioned. And I also have spent a lot of time working with department heads, hearing from them talking about their strategic plan, hearing them ask me how I can help them come up with an equity plan. And it was reassuring and refreshing to hear department heads say that they were ready to join me in this quest to make our city more equitable, more inclusive, and more diverse. It has been a pleasure so far. I look forward to working with each of you and how we all can move our city forward.
Thank you both for your remarks. And again, looking within and trying to build our own department first, and then looking outward to the rest of the metro government. And I'll join Andrea in saying we do truly look forward to working with you on all of those points as we go forward. So, Chair, I'm glad to take questions. And again, as big as we are, I may call on others to help answer them.
All right. Oh, wait a minute, I gotta turn something off first. Councilwoman Henderson.
Thank you, Chair Toombs. Director Cumbro, I wanted to ask about the additional position in public property, because when we were looking at the sidewalk delivery process, why does it kind of take so long? What are the costs? One of the things we pointed out maybe 3 years ago was that there was kind of one person over in public property who was doing acquisitions for delivering metro capital projects. And then, so it had been discussed by way of improving sidewalk delivery, that because that was sort of an ongoing thing, we're 80 years behind, we have this many, thousands of miles to deliver on that position would perhaps be moved into DOT. And I thought maybe I heard that. And so I just wondered, can you speak to kind of what was the current workload for that persons 1, 2, 3? I know it varied over time, and how that's related to DOT. So there's, DOT specific property issues. And then there's obviously the larger kind of, Metro owns all these properties and how you work with that. Can you speak to if that's been kind of thought out, and if there is going to be a person in the DOT, or if they will continue to work with your division for acquisition?
I think we have another accompanying question over here. Okay, great. Hey, so I'm going to invite Trail Webb to come up. He is our new Director of Public Properties, been with us about 6 or 7 months or so, and I believe this will be the first time for him to speak to the council, and so why should we deny him that opportunity, right?
Thank you, Kevin. Good evening, Councilwoman Henderson. So Faye, the master, and I have been talking about what is an appropriate place for the sidewalk easement process. We want to make it a very efficient process for that. In addition to what we've been doing with the sidewalk easements, we have back tax properties, we have Metro-owned government real estate, we have leased real estate, we have utility work. We work with Public Works in terms of acquiring utility rights and right-of-ways. In terms of the right-of-way, in terms of easements for the sidewalks, that position right now is currently, the workload is in our office. I have 2 staff members currently. One person leads that along with back tax properties, along with utilities right-of-ways, along with other kind of easements, right-of-ways, and those type of functions for Metro. That easement piece for sidewalks, Faye and I have been talking about where is the appropriate place for it. Right now, we're looking at moving that to a DOT position once that is fully stood up. But currently, that is under our purview. Now, the whole position we're adding is more a strategic focus in terms of how can we make our real estate more efficient, what type of utilization rates are we using for people in terms of office space, how can we get out of leased buildings into government-owned buildings without expanding greatly, how to make everything more efficient. So it's really looking more about the physical building versus in-ground utilities or sidewalks of those type of specialized real estate.
I appreciate that clarification, and I appreciate that work about kind of optimizing our current facilities as well. So just to clarify then, I understand ongoing conversation about kind of where that right-of-way easements and acquisitions should happen. Is that conceived of, though, in the plus 42 for the DOT in that staffing request? So we're
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
But Faye and I are having discussions about what is the appropriate place for that.
Okay, just for the administration, that clarification would be helpful. I mean, I understand whether it's with you or in DOT. I'm just interested if it's currently conceived of in this budget in the plus 42 positions, FTEs in the Public Works budget. Okay, thank you.
Councilman Nash?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Crumble, you came from the private sector, am I correct?
Yes.
And the reason I asked that question is because so many constituents out there think we're all just a bunch of government bureaucrats. And I think it's important to know that you bring outside business experience and finance experience to the Metro government, especially as we move forward and maybe face another referendum, special election. And I also think it's important that people know over the past few years how much there was a lot of discussion about, well, we didn't furlough Metro employees and we didn't lay them off temporarily. But I don't know that many people understood since 2008, really, when I was still working here, how we froze positions, how we stopped paying the step raises, that were somewhat promised to employees. Last year, they gave up longevity. All that to say, our employees have paid the price to get our government's finances back in stable shape and hopefully help move us forward. And that the tax increase was so very necessary to get us to that point, too, especially in light of the reductions caused by the shutdown due to COVID. So I'm not sure we've made that clear enough to the public, and I just wanted to have a chance to speak to that, and anything that you can add in support of that, I think would be helpful as we move forward.
Well, thank you for your question. And yes, it's the private sector experience that is the bulk of my career. I think I've been here 19 months or so. With respect to staffing, and I did hear a lot about that as we were getting started here, and we were working towards a structurally balanced budget. And then, of course, we had the year that was 2020, the tornadoes and the pandemic and so forth. And I can tell you one of the themes from all those years in the private sector that really came over to the public sector was quite simply my background is in restructurings and turnarounds and so forth. And at the outset of those, there's usually a lot of focus on the crisis at hand and the drama at hand. And there's, solutions that need to be made. And a lot of those are around cash flows and immediate financial, improvements. The real pro, though, looks well beyond that and says it will not always be this way. There will be a recovery, or, what we're doing now is just futile. So for the Metro government to have been so short-sighted to say we're going to start furloughing employees or we're going to start reducing pay, and not realizing that first, in a time of crisis like this, that the services of the Metro government are actually going to rise. They're not going to fall, would be a mistake. And then to not be prepared for the recovery. And we're starting to see that recovery right now. So I think if you're a constituent here in the Metro Davidson area, you should be very grateful that your local government has been with you at the beginning of this. They've been here in the middle, and we will be here later. And had we not done that, I think we'd be ill prepared for this recovery. From an overall financial standpoint, one of the things that's very exciting for me as a financial professional is that we have solved most of our own financial issues on our own, and in large part due to that tax increase, in large part due to rolling back on our spending during this period, which didn't mean we were cutting expenses, but perhaps delaying them, and working with our cash flow timing, refinancing our bonds. And I think something that you'll hear more about as we move forward here is trying to reduce our big OPEB liability. And I think most of you know what that is, so I won't go too much into those details, but we've been able to resolve a great many of our financial woes all on our own. And what's so important about that is that we've increased our cash and our fund balances. I'm expecting, the year's not over yet, but I'm expecting to end in a much better place than we even set out to be. And that's not because of any magic with the revenue or anything odd that's happened. The economy's just been better across the nation, at least most pockets of it, than most anyone anticipated. If you ask our counterparts at the state, you will hear that. Here, we can certainly see that. It's a little better. It's not a lot better. It's not going to resolve our problems permanently. But because we've resolved so many of those on our own, it makes it all the better that the federal stimulus dollars that we're seeing now, and those are in two forms. Those come directly to us, so us as a general government, and to our schools, our airport, and a few other things around the county. But very importantly, that stimulus is flowing directly to consumers. Those consumers are spending. There are metrics all around right now that show that the early spending from the second stimulus is very high. Our counterparts at the state are letting us know they're starting to see almost record increases in that. That's great for us. We don't just have property taxes here we rely on. It's a little over half of our revenue pie. The other comes from our activities taxes in large part. And of course, we've got grants and other things that fill out that pie. But with those activities rising, right, those are the result of more economic activity. And it takes me right back to how I opened up. We needed to be looking well beyond the crisis at hand at 2019, when I think many of you were seated on the council and when this administration came in, and looking at the recovery. And I think we're here now, and we should all be very grateful for that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Crumble. You kind of mentioned the activity taxes. You always hear so often that, well, downtown raises all the money and they get all the benefit out of this. And I think we need to probably explain a little bit that a lot of that money helps out all over the city from activity tax.
Yeah, it does. And so some interesting things when you get into the details. Throughout the pandemic, one of the things that you will see in the media, particularly the financial media, is what's called the substitution effect, which means that when many of us were not working downtown and being at home, My wife's a vaccine researcher, so of course I was home and admiring masks and all of that. I may not have been down here buying a burrito for lunch, right? But I was buying something at Kroger and at Publix in another part of town. And it used to be some years ago that was very difficult for the state, who collects most of that and remits it to local governments, to track that. It's now much easier. It's easier by virtue of some laws that have been passed, and it's much easier because transactions are electronic. So we're able to net a lot more than we used to and really take advantage of that substitution effect when previously it may have been lost. And it's not just at the grocery store or the burrito stand where it may have been lost. It's on the intranet. And I'd be shocked if folks here did not increase their orders on Amazon, right? It used to be very difficult to track that. Well, now it's a lot easier. And I don't think we quite yet capture all of it, but we get most of it. So that's really buoyed, if you will, a lot of the downturn that we may have seen otherwise. So that's really important. And so I would challenge that it's not just downtown. We're excited to have downtown. We need to keep building on that, but it's really all over the county, whether it's in a pandemic period or any other period. So we're fortunate here to have a big revenue pie. Property taxes have certainly stabilized it during this period, and it's my hope that we'll continue to have a very diverse revenue pie, so that if one fails, the other is still going for us.
Thank you, and thank you, Madam Chairman.
Councilwoman Allen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to go back to the new public property person, looking at it from a different angle. And Trail, it's nice to see who you are. So we've had a lot of conversations back and forth. I served on the Mayor's Affordable Housing Task Force, and one of the recommendations was to inventory public property and see if there is public property that would be appropriate to help solve our housing affordability issue. Are there places where Metro can provide land other than just the back tax properties that we've been providing to the Barnes Fund? And so I guess part of my question would be, could it fall under the responsibilities of that new person to do some evaluation of what, if any, of the property that we have might be appropriate as part of that solution? I mean, I know you never want to sell anything, but we do ultimately discover we've been hanging on to something forever, not getting any benefit out of it, whether from property taxes or other needs that we have, like housing right now. So my question would be, is that part of the job description for that new role, or could it be?
Sure. So let me address that at one level, and then I'm going to ask Trail to talk more specifically. So when I was introducing this topic a moment ago, I said there's been a gap between essentially transacting real estate versus a real strategy for it. And so as we look at our entire portfolio that's accumulated all these years, there may well be opportunities there, whether they're immediate opportunities or whether they would take some investment on our part or maybe co-investment from a public-private type of arrangement. I think that remains to be seen. But Terrell, do you want to address more specifically some of the portfolio and the things you're putting together?
Yes. Good evening, Councilman Allen. Good evening to you too. Well, thank you for the question. I think it definitely leads into what our vision for this position will be. We have over 18,000 acres of Metro-owned land in Davidson County. We have 2.5 million square feet of office and industrial space that we own currently. What is the highest and best use of those spaces? Can some of those, are some of them able to be affordable housing or other uses? Should they be developed for Metro uses, or should they go back to the private sector tax base? So yes, that is a key function of this new position, and in my position as well, leading that effort to really take a strategic look across the board, not just Metro government, general government, but looking at the other Metro entities involved, because right now we're trying to get a better handle on not just Metro, the general government opportunities, but also the other agencies within departments within Metro that are big land-owning entities, what their possibilities could be too, and really getting their inventory all centralized into one spot, which we don't have today, and we're working hard to get that quickly into one set of databases that we can really start going through and analyzing, putting the right metrics like lenses on that to understand where those opportunities are.
Thank you. I'm glad to know that. So that's money well spent. I give my support to that. And then second question, there's a mention of $195,000 for a staff position moving over to codes. to deal with short-term rental fees, I think it said. And my question is, does that mean y'all are also handing off the tax collection piece of that, and will that affect revenues? That was on the Finance at a Glance page, if I read that right. And it may have just shown up in codes and it didn't show up in yours, but there's a discussion of transferring things there.
Yeah, so we're starting to see some shifts of all things short-term rental. We went through a period here where the state was stepping in to manage a great deal of that due to some, and it was actually a good thing in my view. They've had to back away from some of that, at least on the timing at this moment. And so right now we're adjusting internally between our treasury function, codes, and other things across the metro government where we just may see touch points for short-term rentals. So if I knew what the finale of all that was going to be, I would tell you now, but for right now, just stay tuned because that's an area that's in flux. And I think there is going to be some pressure on that as we move into this recovery period, because the economy is coming back and STR is going to be a big thing for us.
Councilman Druffel?
Thanks, Chair. Director Crumble, thanks for all you do. And that restructure, it came out on this budget, as I see it. We've reduced the percentage of debt payment to the operating budget for the first time in, I think, for a while. So kudos and great job on that. Question, a lot of our, when you look at all of our budgets are sort of coming up higher and higher. What is your crystal ball looking a year or two out? It's out and you're just wanting to get through this year. But a lot of these budgets we're getting more staff or we're getting more of everything. Are you seeing that in a year or two we'll continue to have this revenue growth to support the continuous expenses?
Yeah, so I think there's two things wrapped up in that. And let me just address the concept of forecasting first, right? So that is something that I know everybody that sits in my seat would love to do. And we love to do it, as Councilman Nash was talking about, like we do in the private sector. And that is really not something that is easily done, or if it is done, it lasts very long because we have election cycles and a lot of disruptions to it. That doesn't mean we don't have a framework for it. And so from a revenue standpoint, what I expect is so goes the economy, so goes Nashville's revenue, at least in the first year that something changes. And so if we look at our trends here for the last several years, they've been up on activities taxes. Certainly property values have come up, and we've seen the most recent evidence of that. And those are all signs of a growing city and something that we can capitalize on as a local government for our revenue opportunities. But they're fragile. Right? Look what happened to our activities taxes as soon as the pandemic happened again. And I think we're kidding ourselves to think that we won't have another one or something like that that could impact it. So as I was mentioning earlier, having a diversity of revenue streams, I think is critically important to our future. I think as long as the city continues to grow and expand, we're going to see ever increasing amounts of those taxes. I also think that with growth comes growing pains, and we're going to see increasing growth in expenses. That doesn't mean that we need to be intentionally adding things or being lavish in some way, but I think we just need to recognize, just like Councilwoman Allen was asking about short-term rentals, there's probably going to be more of those, and it's going to take more of us to collect those taxes and to make sure that they're done well and so forth. So I'm hopeful that we can see over a period of time is that we'll have good financial management. We'll continue to see metrics like you mentioned go our way, meaning our debt per capita starts to come down. It starts to come down as an overall percent of our budget. But to me, that's going to be more of a year in, year out, solid management of every budget that comes before the council, because when you look closely, it doesn't take much, just one budget year to really throw that off. So as much as I'd love to give you that great crystal ball and tell you 5 years from now, here's where we're going to be, I think it has its limitations.
Yeah, I think my intention is more, I guess, the caution of if we're incorporating more and more expenses as we do, which I think are warranted by all means. I think the danger, of course, is if that revenue stream growth doesn't continue, there's a little bit of sign.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And, my view right now, just operationally, is we have a lot of catching up to do. I think that, there had been on again, off again spending reductions and hiring freezes and so forth for quite a long time. And I think that's damaged a fair number of our departments in terms of their efficiencies and the way they're able to operate. And I didn't get to hear the whole presentation, but I'd be stunned if Kristen and Diego weren't talking some about that during their presentations. And so we have some catching up to do, and certainly still some recovery to do from the pandemic, but hopefully if we can get a year or two under our belt of more normal activity, we can see what normal looks like, and then we can start to measure and manage that from a productivity standpoint a little bit better than we have in the past.
Thanks so much.
Yes, sir.
Councilwoman Henderson.
Thank you, Chair Toombs. Director Crumble, can you speak to, as we think about our staff and staff in your department, which is quite sizable, whether in planning or the legal department, many members of our workforce have had advanced degrees, law degree in your department, I would imagine CPAs, getting an accountancy degree in the planning department, master's degrees in planning. All these things require, professional certification, continuing education. And I know historically it seems we've been a little out of balance in that in the operational budget of the legal department, they're paying for continuing education for their attorneys. Whereas in the planning department, historically, we've not paid our folks in our planning department who need to maintain that professional certification. Do we, in support of our employees, is your department's budget address the continuing education credits that are required to maintain a CPA and so forth, or whatever, financial certification your employees need?
Yes, that's a great question. I really can't speak to the other departments and what their needs are and whether they're met needs or not. For ours, they are met for this moment. But I'm going to be thanking, I think, Councilman Nash for his question for a long time. Coming from the private sector, and particularly from a CPA firm, CPAs are credentialed. We pay a lot. I used to pay a lot when I was there for that. I have 4 different credentials, myself. For our credentialed people in the department today, we do pay for some things. We even pay for some new credentialing. I think that's going to be very important. Pre-pandemic, I was looking at some required credentialing for certain positions, but really had to put that down when the pandemic came along, and I really haven't come back to it yet. But for the longer term, I think it just speaks well of organizations to have that credential, that certification that everyone can rely on, including you, when you ask questions, right?
And I appreciate that, because I think, so many people who work for Metro comparative to the private sector are, from a salary standpoint, are not receiving as much as perhaps their colleagues who have paid for the same level of education. So I do think it's important that we have kind of equity across our departments in that regard. And so I'm going to be asking that of the planning department. It comes to mind from a an engineering perspective in public works, in our water department as well. So I would just kind of put a reminder or maybe a request to you to think about that from a fiscal perspective. Are we, if that's something we've consistently done for the legal department forever and ever, and it's something that you're mindful of as a department director, are we making sure that we have kind of equity across our departments where we're supporting our staff in that way?
Yeah, and I'll share with you, just closing up, again, a lot of experience with this, is that I think as a manager of that, you have to look closely as to exactly what's in that continuing education. So I can tell you, to be a CPA, there's gobs of hours it's required every 2 years to do that. And sometimes you look at those gobs of hours, it's easy to say, well, there's kind of the bunny list over here of things we could do to fill that up, as opposed to what exactly is on point for that. So getting our money's worth as investors in that continuing education, I think, is really the soul of making sure that it goes well and that it's efficient.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, council members, we are at time. I am scanning the room for last-minute hands. Seeing none, thank you, Ms. Nguyen and Director Crumble, for your time. Next up is codes, and I'll give them a couple minutes to come to the front of the room.
Thank you, Chair.